why ancient humans feared silence more than noise. Noise can be frightening. A roar in the dark, a branch snapping behind you, a scream from the edge of camp, or a storm breaking over a valley. But for ancient humans, silence may have been even worse. Not peaceful silence, not the quiet of sleep, but the sudden silence. The silence that falls too quickly when birds stop calling and insects vanish. The silence when a forest seems to hold its breath. That kind of silence is not empty. It is full of warning. Imagine a small group walking through tall grass near sunset. The day has been noisy. Birds called from the trees and insects hummed. Water moved over stones. Children whispered. Someone laughed. Then, without explanation, everything stops. No birds, no insects, no rustling, no small animals moving in the leaves. Only the sound of human breathing. And the group freezes. No one needs to explain why. Their bodies already know. Something has changed. Something nearby has made the world go quiet. Maybe a predator, maybe a stranger, maybe a storm, maybe nothing. But in the prehistoric world, maybe nothing was never safe enough. Silence became a signal. Long before written language, humans learned to read absence. Not only what was present, but what was missing. The missing bird call, the missing insect hum, the missing sound of animals feeding, the missing rhythm of a normal evening, one of the first forms of intelligence. A modern person may think of silence as calm, but to a hunter-gatherer, silence could mean danger had entered the system. The forest was not quiet because nothing was happening. It was quiet because everything else had noticed something first. Birds often warn before humans do. Deer lift their heads before humans see the threat. Monkeys cry out. Insects change rhythm. Small animals scatter. Ancient humans lived inside this living alarm system. To survive, they had to listen not only to sound, but to the pattern of sound. Normal noise meant the world was continuing. Sudden silence meant the pattern had broken. That break could save your life if you noticed it early. This is why the human nervous system is so sensitive to silence. A quiet room at night can feel alive. A pause in conversation can feel dangerous. A message left unanswered can feel like rejection. A forest with no birds can feel wrong. We say silence is empty, but the body often treats it as information. Something is not being said. Something is hidden. Something is waiting. This response may be ancient. Around a prehistoric fire, noise meant belonging. Crackling wood, soft voices, children breathing, stone tools tapping, dogs, or early camp animals shifting nearby. The fire was not silent. It spoke. It told the group they were together. It covered small fears with familiar sound. Beyond the firelight was a different kind of quiet. A dark, watching quiet where the imagination had to work. And when imagination enters silence, it fills it with danger. A predator does not always announce itself. A leopard does not roar before it stalks. A snake does not warn before it strikes. A rival human does not always shout before approaching. The most dangerous things may become quiet first. So the ancient brain learned to ask, why is it silent? Who stopped moving? What is listening? And what is hiding? There is a reason many scary stories begin with silence. The camp goes quiet. The woods go quiet, and the house goes quiet. The phone stops ringing. The footsteps stop outside the door. Silence creates a space where the mind must complete the scene, and the human mind, shaped by danger, often completes it with threat. This does not mean ancient humans were always afraid. They also knew peaceful silence. The silence of snow falling. The silence of a sleeping child. The silence after a meal. The silence of grief beside a body. The silence of awe before stars. But survival depends on knowing which silence you are in. A safe silence has softness, but a dangerous silence has tension. Our ancestors had to feel the difference. Maybe they could tell by posture, by animal behavior, or by wind, by smell, or by the way sound disappeared rather than faded. This skill was not mystical. It was attention. Attention sharpened by generations of consequence. If your ancestors ignored dangerous silence, they may not have become ancestors. The ones who survived were the ones who noticed. A small change in sound, a broken rhythm, a pause too sudden to be ordinary. This may be why humans became storytellers. Because stories help us practice danger when danger is not present. Around the fire, an elder might tell children when the birds stop, listen. When the grass goes still, wait. And when the night becomes too quiet, do not wander. A story can carry survival knowledge inside emotion. Fear makes the lesson memorable. The child may not understand tracks yet, or know all animal calls, but the child can remember a story about silence. And later, when the forest stops singing, the body remembers before the mind explains. This is how culture protects the young, not only with tools, but with warnings, not only with rules, but with fear shaped into meaning. Silence also mattered between humans. A person who stopped speaking at the wrong moment could be dangerous. A group that fell silent when a stranger approached was sending a message. A hunter who made no sound might be skilled. A child who suddenly stopped crying might make adults turn an alarm. Sound meant presence. Silence meant uncertainty. And uncertainty is where fear grows. Even today, we fear certain silences more than noise. The silence after bad news. The silence from someone we love. The silence in a place that should be busy. The silence before a crowd reacts. The silence of a hospital room and the silence of a phone that does not ring. These modern silences are not the same as a predator in tall grass. But the body does not always know that. It treats absence as a signal. Something has changed. Something may be wrong. So you better prepare. This ancient sensitivity may be uncomfortable, but it is part of our intelligence. Listening is not passive. It is a way of reading the world. The ear can detect what the eye cannot see. For ancient humans, hearing may have extended the edge of the campfire. Sight ends where darkness begins, but sound travels through it. A snapped twig, a cough, a footstep, a wing beat, or the loss of birdsong. These were messages from beyond the visible world. To fear silence was not weakness, it was wisdom. It meant the human body understood that the world was connected. When one part of the landscape changed, another part might be responsible. A quiet forest was not separate from the predator. It was evidence of the predator. The absence was the clue. And this is a profound idea. Humans learned not only to see things, but to see relationships. Birds and cats, grass and wind, fire and safety, silence after, meaning lived between things. And the people who could read those invisible connections survived. Imagine the group again at sunset. The forest goes quiet. A hand rises. Everyone stops. A child is pulled closer, and a hunter crouches. The fire is still far away. For a long moment, nothing happens. Then, from the grass, a shape moves. Maybe they see it in time. Maybe they turn back. Maybe the silence saved them. Later, around the fire, the story will be told, not as data or science, but as memory. The night the world stopped singing. The night silence warned us. The night we listened and lived. Thousands of years later, we still carry that story in our nerves. We may live in cities. We may sleep behind walls. We may fill our rooms with music, engines, screens, and voices. But when the world suddenly goes quiet, something old inside us wakes up. It listens, it waits, and it asks the oldest question. Why did the noise stop? Somewhere deep in the human body, the answer is still the same, because something may be there.